This is my barbecue, which I use for parties and it's myself and other people who want to come round. As you can see, it's a 40-gallon drum, which is cut in two, but there are a few problems with it. This is just a trellis, 1-inch frame trellis, which is welded to the bottom of the barbecue. As you can see, the welds down there are badly perished. Now, I can't actually repair those welds, but what I'm going to do is make some braces up. Let's let you see the other side. Yeah, it's not so bad. But again, if you have an old 40-gallon drum and you want to make yourself a barbecue, it's the ideal place to start. That's what it looks like when it's upright. And then you just get some grills and you put it on top. I'll show you one of the grills. It's one of the grills there. Now this is a frame from an old garden seat. Just a very light thing that collapsed. But the metal's perfectly good. And what I'm going to do is cut this up into sections to make braces for it, and then I'm going to weld them onto the barbecue stand and the barbecue itself. That gives you a good idea as to what way I'm going to cut this up. I'm just going to use a regular hacksaw, so I'll bring you back in a few minutes. So there's the first part of the frame of the chair and the vise. Now what I've had to do is use the grinder. I always use a grinder with a safety guard on it because the grinding discs tend to break up, and if a disc accidentally broke up and hit you in the arm or the leg or the eye, it could be quite nasty. So I'll bring you back a little bit later on. So as you can see, I have made 3 braces and they're 8 inches long or 200mm. Just have another 3 to make. So I'm just going to bring in and let you see me cutting the last of the 6 braces. As you can see there, I've put it in the vise. It doesn't have to be dead accurate, just as long as it's fairly tight. So we'll set you down and we'll cut the last brace. Not enough length there. So that's the last of the braces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 for luck. So I've done 7 just in case something goes wrong. So I'll bring you back in a wee minute. I'll show you what I'm going to do next. So as you can see what I'm going to do next, I'm going to chamfer the ends. I'm going to put a 45-degree angle on them. So it will be a 45-degree angle on this side, and I'll show you the 45-degree angle on the other. So you can see the 2 45-degree angles, one here and one there. So they're going like that and like that. So I have some more braces to do. So I think you understand how I've ground those off. Now there is a coating, plastic coating on these chair frames, so I'll have to take that off. So what you're better doing is for cutting your 45-degree angles. You're better cutting them from the right hand side of the vise, because it means to say the vise doesn't get in your way when you're putting your grinder through. So I'll bring it back in a couple of minutes and let you see how I'm getting on. So there you can see that's the 6 braces that I've made. I've chamfered off the ends. I've left the 7th one as a spare because you never know when you're going to need it. There's the offcuts there. Sometimes it can get a bit warm, so I just use a pair of pliers when I'm lifting them off the end of the braces. So I'm going to throw the scrap metal into the bin, tidy the bench up a bit, and I'll come back again. So see you in a minute. So that's everything all tidied up. So what I have to do is I have to remove the plastic coating or the paint coating from the ends of each of these supports. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that in a minute. So what I do is I cradle the grinder into the vise. I don't actually hold it specifically by the chucks, but what I do is, if you can see that, I rest the grinder onto the bottom of the sliding part of the vise. So it's not enough pressure to do the grinder any halt, but it gives me something stationary that enables me to remove the excess paint from the bottom of the stays. So I'll bring you back in a wee minute. So as you can see, I've cleaned up the bottom of these stays. Missed that one there, so I have to do that one there, and then I have one more to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this end here. So just bear with me and I'll set you up. So as you can see, had a wee bit of a slip there, but nothing too untoward. The stays look fine. So just one more to do, and then we'll bring it back again. So that's all 6 stays done. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wire brush, which is almost done. But that's my wire brush, and I'm going to give each end a little rub with the wire brush. What that'll do is that'll take any excess paint, varnish, whatever it is off, also slightly deburr the ends, which you can see here are quite sharp. So I'll bring it back whenever that's done. So I'm just bringing in, let you see how I finished the last brace off. Just hold it in the vise, nice and low down. Give it a couple of runs around the top, the sides. That. Turn it around. That. Nip it up. That's that one done. See, the end's fairly good. So just turn you off and tell you what I'm going to do next. So as you can see here, I've got my welding rods, 6 welding rods in the packet at the front and 2 welding rods on their own. The welding rods at the packet at the front are very light, whereas the welding rods at the back are quite heavy rods. So what I tend to do with these all, is put them into the oven for 10 or 15 minutes just to heat them up. So it's welding rods going into the oven, so I'm just going to turn the oven on, stick it to be 150 degrees and leave the welding rods in there for about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe even 20. So I'll come back later and let you see what's going on. So it's welding rods in the oven. So as you can see, the welding surfaces are extremely rusty here, so I'm going to have to clean those up. What I'm going to do is put the brace onto each end, and you can see that the braces need to be taken back a little bit. 45-degree angle didn't work, so that's not a problem. We'll take those back about ½ an inch on each end. So I'll come back and show you when I've done that. I'll also show you where I've cleaned the trestle of the barbecue and the top of the barbecue on this leg. So I'll be back in a minute. So as you can see, I have just removed some of the metal. That's given me a perfect, or near enough perfect fit for the brace to the legs and the brace to the top of the barbecue. So a few more to do, so I'll bring it back in a couple of minutes to let you see how I've got on. That's all the 6 braces altered, and they should be good to fit on the stand and the top of the barbecue. So what I'm going to do now is just mark on the top of the barbecue where the support is going to go there, and roughly on the stand here. That's alright, doesn't worry if it's loose, because what I'm going to do is clean up the metal here and clean up the metal there so that I can get a good key when I'm using the electric arc welder. So we'll bring it back in a few minutes. So as you can see, I have the top of the barbecue cleaned off, so it's down to the bare metal. I have the legs of the barbecue cleaned off, so they're at the bare metal. What I also do is when I'm earthing anything to metal, I tend to use parabol grips or vice grips, because sometimes if you use the clamps they can jump off and you don't know what's happened, whereas this way here I find it more reliable. So now I'm going to get the welding rods out of the oven in the kitchen. So what I do when I'm taking welding rods out of the oven, I use a pair of pliers and I use a large cup to put the welding rods into. So we'll do that now. Obviously I can't do that when I'm holding the camera. The reason I only take one welding rod out at a time is because they have a tendency to cool down and you have to stick them back in the oven again. As you can see, I welded the brace onto the top of the barbecue and the trellis stand. Now there's a little bit of a hole in the strengthening rod that goes down to the trellis, but I'm going to leave that in that. And the reason I'm going to leave that in that is if there's any water collects in that pipe there, the strengthening bar, it can actually come out the bottom there. So hopefully it'll, well, you can't stop rust, but it'll certainly protect it from the effects of rust. So I'll come back and we'll bring it back when we've got the other ones done. Now as you can see, I've welded the other brace to the other side. Now I did create a bit of a hole at the top one here, but if you remember in my kitchen in the oven there was the big thick welding rods. I was able to use that to cover the hole up, and hopefully that'll be successful. You know, at the end of the day there's not an awful lot of weight goes on these, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this cool down turn the barbecue over, and then do the same for the other side. So there we are. That's that brace on the far side, and that's the other brace on the far side. You can see there's a small hole as there was on the opposite side. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Turned out alright. Okay, the barbecue maybe looks a bit rusty, but once it's filled with charcoal and lit, I can assure you it's perfectly fine. So we'll turn it up and see what the finished job looks like. So the first thing what's handy about this barbecue is it's stable. It's not going to move about. If you're cooking for a large number of people, maybe had a few drinks, you always have to think about stability, especially when an item's glowing hot, you know, with cooking food. So this barbecue's ideal for that. As you can see, 40-gallon drum cut in half. One side's a wee bit lower than the other. The reason for that is some people are vegetarian, some people have allergies to various foods, so you can split the food up between this side and this side depending on what. I've actually cooked for over 130 people on this barbecue. What you can also do, if you buy a small barbecue, an individual one or for a couple of people, you can set it on top. Absolutely perfect. So once again, thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this barbecue, please give it a big thumbs up, hit the like button and the bell notification for future videos. I hope you have plenty of pleasant barbecues this summer and beyond. Bye bye.